What's going on, guys? Today we're going to show you how to install this pre-bent cage from Turn 5 Fabrication. This is going in a S13 chassis. What you're going to get is the passenger side A-pillar, the driver's side A-pillar, the top bar to connect the two, as well as the main hoop with the rear down bars and everything put together. This particular one, the rear down bars go to the wheel well. What you don't see pictured here is the door bars, and we'll bring those in later on and kind of show you guys what to do on those. So let's get started. I normally don't make these YouTube videos, and I'm not going to be the person that likes, subscribe, share, follow, none of that, because I don't really care. I don't have time to make these videos. I'm just kind of making this as something to help out people if they buy a pre-bent cage from me, or somebody that's making their own cage in a car. We're going to start by lifting one end up and over the transmission tunnel. Lean it forward. You can let it slide on the floor, or if you just painted it, you probably don't want to do that. But this one's not painted. We're going to use some leverage to kind of pick up the other end and set it up on top of the rail there. If the cage is narrower, then obviously, set it where you can. Now that we got this in here, we're going to just kind of evenly scoot it back. Lift up over any wires that are in the way. Make sure we got it lined up center. And where we want it. This one we're going to put a little bit further back. This is one of the easier parts. Gonna bring the top side in first, go through the hoop. A lot of times you'll see where there's a tack mark where the cage was tacked together. You just want to hold it up into place. Take your Sharpie, paint marker, whatever you got. And we're just gonna draw a circle. There's two ways of cutting out these holes. You can do it with a hole saw, or if you have access to one, a plasma cutter is really good. You want to roll into it. And always cut the hole bigger than the tubing that you're using. So if you have 1.5 inch tubing, use an 1 3/4 hole saw bit. Okay, it's a lot easier to paint the cage when it's out of the car and then come back and touch up spots later. That way you're not getting overspray on everything, you're not having to clean up a mess afterwards, none of that. So it's painted. What we're gonna do is wire wheel the paint off where we're gonna weld those A-pillar bars on. So the best way I found to do this is to put a thin piece of metal over the hole that you cut out earlier. That way the cage, it'll sit down lower, and when you put the floor plates in, it'll raise it up that extra bit. This car we're going to do some blocks because the floorboard's so fucked up on it. So I put a small piece of tubing down there. You just want to set the cage into place kind of where you want it, and we're just going to tack it in. I've got the other pillar installed. And remember, only put a tack on there, and it has just a light tack because we're going to break it loose here in a minute. I've installed my A-pillar piece, and I've marked where the paint needs to be stripped off, so we're going to do that right quick. Remember, these only go in one way. So if you're having trouble putting it in, try flipping it around. We're going to space it with our fingers. Make sure it's even. Double check, make sure everything is square and where you want it. we're gonna go ahead and weld these first. I'm not sure if it recorded or not because I changed cameras and then I think the other camera failed, but we broke the tacks loose, dropped this down, welded the top side, and now we touched it up with paint, and now we're gonna stick it back up on there and weld it back into place. It's easier if you have a friend to help you. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and just throw a weld on there as far as we can, and then we'll drop it to the floor and finish it up. Now you can see we have access to weld all the way around the top. It'll also help if you take a jack and you raise the front of the car. That'll allow that cage to come down more and more to the ground, and you'll be able to get better access to welding around the joint here.